We go over to the National Nightly News team. There's just time to catch up on our programming later tonight. At 6:30 p.m, it's What's My Old Tap Worth? And tonight, Frank Franklin and the team are in Grantstable trying to flog an Ottoman. At 7 p.m, it's today's highlights from the Sports Board Regionals, presented, as always, by Patrick Bannon. That's followed at 7:30 p.m. by The Club, our harrowing soap opera about a group of poor young unfortunates who find themselves excluded from the Go-Getters programme and their inevitable demise. At 8 p.m, it's movie time with the network premiere of smash hit Bullet Man 2. And after that, at 10:20, Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey returns with a new season of Incisors, and his very first guest is popular parrot Hamilton Squawkbox. At 11:30, it's a double bill for popular transatlantic comedy That Nun's Got Guns. Before at 12:30, we reach the National Weather Report with Sally Peng to close out this evening's entertainment. But first, it's time to hand over to Jeremy, Megan and all the team at the National Nightly News.
Good evening, I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What do you think about all these sanctions?
I doubt it make a lot of difference, Pet. I've lived through 2 world wars and I smoke 40 a day. And if that ain't killed me, I doubt this will either.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever, and this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
Hi there. Robin Short, National Nightly News. I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on the current government.
I'm not really very interested in politics, really. As Mother always said, leave politics to the politicians, Malcolm.
Over to you, fellas. Global mega corporation Remington's Fist today announced that trials have successfully completed on their groundbreaking male contraceptive product, Responsibility.
The drug has been passed by the government for general release, but the small print warns that, in rare cases, side effects can include blurred vision, enlarged genitalia, and increased risk of stroke. No double entendre intended.
But what do you, the public, think of Sophia Remington's latest venture? Patrick?
What are your thoughts on the new male contraceptive pill?
I'm doing that now, are they? I can't see what's wrong with a washable lamb's bladder. It was fine for me and Harold. All 17 of my kids use the same method to this day. And my firstborn even uses the same bladder. So at my age, who cares?
OK, all right.
A momentary lapse of reason. Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by controversial protest group Disrupt.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy, but most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
How do you feel about Disrupt?
Ah, well, now you're talking. ruddy hero, showing us not to take it lying down like Iris here.
So you both feel they're a cause worth supporting?
Well, Iris doesn't speak on mine, but we're pretty sure there's still one in there, aren't we, love? Wherever it is, it loves disrupt, fighting the oinks for our freedom. And what could possibly be wrong with that?
Do you need me to get you some help?
Bubbling up, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and Dr. Ingrid Svorsborg-Hawkinsford today sent a blueprint of the escape craft on which they hope to finally leave Dante's taint.
With expert opinions of the plan running the gamut from optimistically engineered to that looks like something my granddad made in his shed, it sounds like the unfortunate team are going to need all the thoughts and prayers they can get.
So what should we think about the escape plan? Patrick Bannon again.
So I'd imagine that you think this is a great plan.
Oh my God! How did you know? It's a brilliant idea. I hope everyone gets behind them so that they know that we're with them. In spirit, of course. I can't actually go diving because I'm scared of salt.
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team membership cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, rightfully, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
I don't really join things as a rule. As Mother always said, membership is mostly for unmentionables, Malcolm.
And finally tonight, hospital pass. New images reach us today of brave Johnny Handsleeves and his doting partner Tiffany Lamore in their ongoing struggle against his horrific mystery illness.
Tiffany was forced to cancel her latest show, These Hotel Sheets and What I Did on Them, in order to devote more time to selflessly looking after the much-loved multimillionaire.
I'm sure the art world will recover.
With some critics questioning her motives, what should your opinion be of the controversial artist for at least appearing to stand by her man?
Disgusting.
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National
Nightly
News.
News. Tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For Advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard or labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
OK.
Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, and we have like some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent, yeah?
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah?
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, vote thing, yeah? But it's actually the Festival of Feuerlands here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, we all had to work our grandparents clean, yeah, whilst the vote was happening, and that's, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man? It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that... Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. It can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have, serious animal welfare legislation. And, my friend Helge, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker, too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
That's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
OK, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Bjerk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Svenland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Vortovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant Newton hairy bear. When really, he just standing in field
holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these...
Hyperbolic?
Correct. It's a leap year. Catch the egg. Name that fish. Keep the bucket. Wait, is that? Yes, it's the Oh, you know what that means. Put on a shame hat. And that's right. We win your kids. Sorry, they're ours now. Forget those tired old board games. The Sports Board game is the only game your family is going to want to play.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, the government. Advanced.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah. Nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah. I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice?
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of a...
Or maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh, no. I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel elation from your participation. Still 2 leaders in the nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why the if mansions, so all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Get every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention, I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise, of the crest of the wave, cause we're only equal people when we play. Take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job, he's unfaithful. It's time to spawn a car. Pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the push and the shove ones, the folks to feel the burden of ones who had plenty like a mother. The ones who now finding out their bank accounts are empty. The ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the praise, of the crest of the waves, cause we're only equal people. We're gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Cut the stone across with pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your in the streets, set up him, let him feel. Say you hate to go getters, you're squilling bed getters and birds on fucking letters. Gonna take his facts, gonna stain it red, gonna cause he's fake, got a job he's unfit for. Time to stone the castle with pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team. Cause they're corrupt, then your anger corrupt, then your hearts and your minds.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
That's the ads.
Jenny, this is fucking out.
Here at Advance, we know you're worried about the future. This territory is changing fast and that makes other countries uncomfortable. But that won't stop us. And we intend to make sure that in these challenging times, every citizen gets their fair share of the abundant, nutritious food we grow right here in the territory. Your entitlements book will be coming to you by post in the next few days, and it will let you claim enough food for the week, every week, at one of our many new distribution centres. Everyone will get their fair share, and no one will be left behind. So you can carry on coming together to enjoy life and make wonderful memories. Because we've shown our international friends what's possible when we all pool our resources and come together in a sense of team spirit. So don't worry about what the rest of the world thinks. Save your concern for those around you, your family, friends and neighbours, and have confidence that the team will keep you safe from all the rest. Advance. Let's keep on setting a shining example together.
Welcome back. And no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yoghurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by national treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Rayton, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, yeah, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It's like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris, Jesus, that was hard.
It's catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
Wow. Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid, a pantomime. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show?
Good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred path!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, was actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which, frankly, would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Goodness, and you do this every night?
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable, Megan.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt you'll have taken our jobs.
Yeah.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
Tired of dull and lifeless hair? Fed up of dry and brittle split ends? Then say hello to Acide Gastrique. Acide Gastrique. Provitamin formula is a deep fortifying, intensive treatment that repairs and protects hair for irresistible shine. Only Acide Gastrique contains an organic blend of ingredients that penetrate deep into your hair, breaking down citrulline and glycogen for hair that looks and feels healthier. Acide Gastrique nourishes from root to tip for 8 times the strength of other brands. 6 out of 10 shampoo is recommended. Acide Gastrique. The intensive formula acts fast, repairing damage and strengthening strands for hair that's truly unbreakable. Metaphor for hair strength. Rapid repair and protect. Deep, nourishing, intensely strengthening Pro V formula. The irresistible, healthy-looking great hair days that make you say, look at my hair. Look at my hair. Acide Gastrique. Because you have to.